All right, back at it again. Got some things to fix before I take the van out again. I want to get the diesel heater installed because it's supposed to get cold here again. It's been 50, 60 degrees here on the East Coast in January, but it's supposed to get cold again. So I want to get that installed. But in order to get that installed, I need to go to the store, buy some chalk paint for a cabinet I got at a restore place. Just the basic like sink cabinet. I want to paint that gray because I have flooring I need to put in. Doesn't really have to happen at the same time as the diesel heater, but I want to get the cabinet at least temporarily mounted in the van, so the diesel tank can be put into that cabinet, and then I can work on it from there. So first step is go to Home Depot. All right, we are back with some Chick-fil-A and stuff for projects from Home Depot. So I got the double reflective insulation with staple tab. Again, too many projects at once sometimes. And then I got gray chalk paint. The flooring I'm eventually putting in is like a light gray white. So I'm gonna go with a darker gray for the cabinet, and then sandpaper, of course, and then some polyurethane, oil-based polyurethane to seal it. And then paintbrushes, and this bag did not survive the trip. Well, I'm starting with the cabinet project. I was going to get this ready for paint. I've already wiped it off with alcohol. I need to do a little bit more to it to paint this gray. All right, so here is the Chinese diesel heater from Amazon. There are a lot on there, different names, same price. I believe this was $169, I think. All right, so in the diesel heater box, we have the gas tank. Oh, it already has a fitting on it for the fuel, so no drilling needed. In a sense, that would sit here with the hole drilled through, so it can... Oh, this is the self-contained unit. So that's the diesel heater itself. And then we have a whole box of accessories. So, nice. Max speed racing gloves. Wiring harness. T-diverter. A little baby exhaust. Remote to mount on the side of the unit, but it also had a wireless remote control. So when you're camping in your 65-degree heated camper and you want to turn it up before you wake up in the morning, you can use the remote. This looks like fuel pickup, fuel filter. I'm gonna assume this is intake. It looks like intake, but we'll see. And then two different types of pipe, of course, exhaust pipe, and then a pipe for the output. And some kind of metal plate, I'm guessing, for wherever you mount this at. Wow, and a very large instruction manual. That was not expected for this. I was reading the instructions, and it just had a bunch of numbers, but it didn't say what unit of measurement it is. So I'm assuming this is millimeters, but there's no key anywhere that says we're using millimeters. Okay, so this is the cabinet that I'm going to be putting into the Vanagon. I got it at a furniture restore place where they take overstock furniture and they buy it in bulk and then resell it fairly cheap. It needs to match the floors though. I got this vinyl flooring at the same place. It's kind of like a gray with some black and white in it. I got each of these boxes. I think one was like $5, the other one was like $1, something like that. So I picked up this chalk paint from Home Depot. This is just classic dark gray. So here's the color that's going on it. This isn't working. This is definitely not working. So I wiped this down with isopropyl alcohol, and so that should have removed everything, but I think just the material of the wood, I don't know, I've never really done it before. It's making the paint literally disappear. I'm gonna get a spray paint primer, and I'm gonna prime this whole thing with spray paint first to get a nice base on there, because this is turning into absolute garbage. So I'm going to spray this with wax and grease remover first. Alright, I'm going to use some 60 grit, I think it's 60 or 90 grit sandpaper, rub off the surface a little bit so the paint actually sticks. Alright, so I have put on 2 coats of the sandable primer and let that dry. It's colder out, like 50 degrees. I'm thinking of putting on a white base coat. If I have to see if I have any white primer, because my idea is I'm going to put the white base coat down and then put the gray chalk paint over it, and then use the sander to like put in a bunch of like random like wear lines on the edges and stuff to kind of make it show through. So I put the primer on initially so paint would stick to that type of glossed wood. Sanded the primer down. Now I'm using white, looks like white primer. Alright, following back up, I have the initial base coat of white down. Doesn't need to be perfect because I'm literally covering the whole thing up. Alright, so this is the first coat of the gray chalk paint. I just went pretty light just to get it to get a nice base layer down. I'm thinking about painting the insides of this just because I don't want that nasty tan in here. I'll think about it. And that's the other side. Definitely want to eliminate drips like that going down there. Alright, a brief update here. The second coat is drying nicely, so that'll finish this off. I flipped the cabinet doors around and I'm painting the backside. Those are drying nicely as well. And I've started peeling off this bottom panel here. And I'm going to pop that panel off and put some magnets and stuff back there to make like a hidden storage area. Because that's a lot of wasted space that I would want to use for storage of some sort. So this is supposed to look damaged. I'm trying to add wear to it. So I did these with the circular sander. It's a little more soft, but it shows a little bit of the sanding around it. But then I did this with the belt sander I have. This is a little mini belt sander. And that's a little too rough. That went right through way too fast here and here. So I think I'm going to continue to use the circular sander to continue to add wear lines and stuff around it. Just trying to add some wear to it, like where people would be touching it a lot, like around this area, and then I'll add some to the doors. Okay, so I've reinstalled the doors. As you see, they don't really match because they haven't been sanded down. I've realized sanding the gray chalk paint turned it into like a silver chalk paint. So that makes it look a lot more like the flooring. And I added random gashes here and there. I added a lot of wear marks around here because I feel like this is where people would have been like touching to use it or bump into it. Same with over here. I feel like I got a lot more practice on the other sides, and because this is the side that's going to be visible, so I put wear lines around the top and then on the sides randomly where it's got like where it could be like, you know, bumped over the years. Added more wear lines to the edges here. So I'm going to add probably like a lot of wear lines right around here because this is where you would open the door. I'm going to put on knobs probably right about here. Yeah, probably up here. So I'm going to add like a lot of the wear lines right here. Nice. So I added some more here, added some more wear to there. It's probably a little more overly worn than I wanted it to be. Like, I think I went a little too crazy when I first started. Probably should have just stuck to the sides and the edges and then worked my way in. But I mean, I still like it. It's good. All right, so now I'm gonna put on this oil-based polyurethane. They do say that polyurethane can yellow sometimes when it's seen sun and dry, but it's better than, to me, it's better than using the wax. The wax I've seen just doesn't work well and it chips over time. I'd rather the protection. I am noticing that it is, with the polyurethane on it, definitely goes a lot darker than when it was just sanded and, I guess, raw. So I'm gonna paint this with the poly and the other side with the poly. I can't do the front of it because it looked too much like a cow. Like, it was too spotted for me. So I painted over some of those areas and I'll balance it out again. The first coat is done. Of course, it's wet right now, so it's very glossy. I only did this side. I didn't touch this because I just repainted this area, this area, this area, and this area to like take away some of the spotted effect. Then I polyed this side, and then also I'm doing the doors and the kick plate over there. I'm doing something special with the kick plate. I'm 3D printing some brackets, and I'm going to put a magnet mount on there so that panel can pop off, be like a hidden storage compartment. And I'll probably put the magnetic hinges up here as well and down here so this can stay shut. Here is the part that's being printed right now. It's like a 45-degree. It's not a hinge, but it'll sit on the wall and then clasp together. Are we sunning ourselves? You're just sunning yourself out here? No, you are? Okay, and after a battery change, finished the first coat of polyurethane. Garage is probably about 65-70 degrees with that propane heater running. And now we're just letting this coat dry. Of course, this is second coat for the sides, first coat for the front. Sanded the front down a little bit, added more wear back into the sides, but didn't leave it as like polka dotted as it was before. So we'll let that dry. So these two videos are shot a little bit differently. I shot the cabinet video and the diesel heater video at the same time, but released as separate videos. So this is going to finish up the cabinet video for the most part, and then I'll reinstall it into the van when I do the diesel heater install. Because the diesel heater needs to be, the tank needs to be installed right here. But for the most part, this is done for now. There'll be a separate video probably on the countertop because I really have no idea what I'm doing with that yet. I know there's a sink going in there, but it doesn't need to overhang. I don't know. So let's get the doors back going. I didn't polyurethane the back. Crap. Crap, crap, crap. Now the last coat of polyurethane's done. So we're gonna let that do its thing, and we'll fast forward again to tomorrow when this will actually be done and I'll be able to put the cabinet doors on and maybe the magnets at the same time, and then we will call this done. And we're back. It's the next day. The polyurethane is now dry. So that's a nice coat on the back side of both of these. I have both of the doors mounted. I started working on the magnetic mount right here, but I'm really not happy with it. It's not turning out as strong as I want it to be, but I also don't have any screws or nails that are this thin, so I don't want to screw up the front of this thing. It's scrappy as it looks as is. It has drips. It's not perfect, but it costs 60 bucks plus or minus, you know, $25 for the paint for it. And then this base plate here, or this kick plate here, will go right back on here. So that's going to be additional storage underneath of the cabinet. So this is the countertop I bought to use. I think this was like $5. I'm going to see what this looks like on top of it, but I might just do the same thing, sand it, chalk paint it, wear it a little bit, and then seal it when I get close to that. I still have no idea what I want to do with that countertop yet, depending on how the plans go. But I needed to get the cabinet part done so I can mount the diesel tank in here for the diesel heater install video, which is next week's video. That's a detailed video on installing the diesel heater, drilling the hole in the floor, all that fun stuff. So this is the part 1 to that part 2, and then part 3 after that will be actually testing it. Does it work at night? Does it stay warm? Does it stay on? Did I screw something up and it's going to leak all over the place? Probably. So we'll see. So for now, this project is done. I'll see you next time. These cabinet doors aren't lined up at all, but you know, that's what you get for $60. I wonder how long before this chips. I wonder.